to say this. There is only one disease, and that is called toxin. And where in which cells, which location it sits, or it enters, that gives the name. There is only one remedy, and that is called detox. Our cells are designed to detox these different kinds of things. There are only two conditions in which the toxins are not getting out. One, because of excess entry of the toxin, or lack of nutrition, which affects the cell
Ou
structure.
falta da nutrição que afeta a função da célula.
So, when it comes to
Então, quando se trata
detoxing,
da desintoxicação,
after antioxidation and hydration and everything in the mitochondria,
e tudo que acontece na mitocôndria precisa ter um processo de oxidação acontecendo. Então, isso é uma coisa simples. Nós podemos ver a quantidade de toxinas que tem nas nossas células, que as vacinas, as medicações, tudo o que o ambiente traz, que afeta o nosso sistema endócrino. Então, esse programa foi criado e o legado dessa mensagem que nós trazemos ao mundo, que tem médicos de verdade, que tentam usar o sistema imune como cura. E isso foi o que eu recebi da sua apresentação. Muito obrigada. Eu estou vendo muitas mãos levantadas para perguntas. Raul, por favor, você gostaria de chamá-los e checar as questões? Obrigada.
Of course, thank you, Dr. Yamasita.
Muito obrigado, Dr. Yamasita.
Fortunately, we have now a lot of colleagues from different continents. So I would like to start with Dr. Maria Emilia Gadella, then Dr. Karine Petri, and finally Dr. Simone Teixeira. But we also have colleagues from New Zealand and from United States. So thank you for being here. The microphones are yours, Dr. Maria. Welcome.
Eu devo falar em inglês ou em português?
No, as you wish. We have a direct translation. Interpretation.
May speak in Portuguese because we have translators.
Okay.
Just speak slowly for the translation.
Ok. Boa tarde a todos.
Good afternoon, everyone.
A solicitação é que eu fale
Well,
sobre
the request is that I talk about something about the ozonotherapy in the treatment of autism. Basically, the ozone has a beneficial action, and there is a pediatrician table which we helped design, coming from a Cuban table with colleagues from Cuba and Chile. And this application is very beneficial in the sense that it helps to restore the intestine. It also helps controlling the infections through clostrides. We know that many times these children, they have uncontrollable diarrheas. And
creo que está ahí en inglés. Por lo menos que se ponga algo de ahora. ¿Qué le mandó el chito, amor?
Tem alguém
Doutora Helena, apague seu microfone, por favor.
Sim. Então, basicamente, essa ajuda da estimulação ambiental de ozônio medicinal é
of
extremamente
ozone
importante
is
nas crianças
extremely
autistas,
important
né?
in autistic
Existem
children.
pouquíssimos trabalhos mostrando
There
esse
are a
benefício
few
indireto,
works
ainda não há
showing this
uma
indirect
evidência
benefit. There
científica
isn't
robusta
still
sobre esse assunto,
scientific-based
mas
evidence, a robust
conhecendo-se
one
os
about this topic.
benefícios
So,
do ponto de
knowing
vista
the
biológico do
benefits
ozônio
in a
medicinal, nós
biological
podemos
perspective, bear
entender
in
por
mind
que
the
essas crianças melhoram
medicinal
tanto.
ozone, we can
Os
understand why
benefícios
they improve so
acontecem
much.
também no
The
desenvolvimento
benefits also
cognitivo, porque
happen
nós
in the cognitive
conhecemos a
development
ligação do
because
eixo
we know the
intestino-cérebro, então essa
connection between
modulação da
brain and intestine.
neuroinflamação
So this
é extremamente
neuroinflammation
importante a partir
modulation is
dessa
extremely
da aplicação do
important.
ozônio por via
Bear in
retal,
mind
né?
this application of the
Então, cada vez
ozone
mais nós
via
esperamos
rectal.
que
So we
esses
expect more and
benefícios
more
possam ser
that these
conhecidos e que
benefits
mais
can become
médicos
widely
e
known
governos
and
e
that more
sistemas
doctors and
de saúde
governments
ao
and
redor do
health
mundo possam
systems
aplicar
around the
o
world can
ozônio,
put this
né?
into
Nós já
practice,
temos um mapa
can
de
use the
evidências
ozone. We
científicas
already
que foi
have some
produzido em
scientific
conjunto
evidence
com a
which was
Sociedade Brasileira
produced
de Ozônio
along
Medicinal,
with
que é a
the
SOBOM,
Ozone
e a
Association
ABIREME, que é a Biblioteca
and the
Virtual em
Abiremi,
Saúde,
which is the
que é
virtual
coligada à
bookshop
Organização
in health,
Pan-Americana da
which is
Saúde
linked
e
with
à
the
OMS.
Pan
Então,
American
nós entendemos
Organization of
que
Health.
o
So
ozônio
we
pode ser
understand
e
that the
é
ozone can
uma
and it
ferramenta
is
terapêutica
a
fundamental
therapeutical tool and
no
a
auxílio
fundamental one
da melhoria
in
mais
helping
rápida, da
the
recuperação mais
improvement, a
rápida das
faster
crianças que estão
improvement of
enfrentando
these children
essa
who are
situação
facing
muitas vezes dramática, não
this
só para a criança, como para
situation,
toda a
and many
família.
times a
Então, muito
difficult one, not
obrigada
only for the
pela
children, but
oportunidade de
for the
participação
family as
e
well.
fico por aqui.
Thanks for your
Muito obrigado,
participation, and
doutora
that's
Maria
it.
Emília, uma grande médica cientista do Brasil.
Thanks,
É
Dra.
uma
Maria
honra
Emilia,
tê-la
great
aqui com a gente.
scientist from Brazil. It's an honor to have you
Obrigada.
here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Dr. Karin Petri. Welcome.
A próxima.
We are so excited to have your comments for Dr. Yamashita and the audience. You are mute.
Bom dia, muito obrigada, Dr. João, por essa maravilhosa apresentação.
Good morning, Dr.
Nós
João,
precisamos
thank you
cada
for
vez
this
mais de
amazing
interação
presentation.
dos
It's a
médicos no
moment
mundo e
that we
conhecer
need more and more
acerca de
interaction and
imunologia.
knowledge among
Eu estou
doctors
junto desde o
regarding
início nessa
immunology.
batalha aí contra
I have been
essa
together
doença, essa
with
proteína
you
que
since the
foi
beginning
lançada no
against this
mundo, né,
disease,
desde o
this
advento aí da
protein that has
Covid.
been released in the
E
world
tenho tido
since the
muitos
advent
casos
of
de pacientes
COVID. And there are
alterações
lots of
imunológicas muito
cases of
severas
patients
que
with
não têm
very
sido
severe
reconhecidas pelos colegas
autoimmune
médicos, não
changes
só
that hasn't
o
been
transtorno do
seen or
alterações
acknowledged by
neurocognitivas, mas outras
colleagues,
apresentações
not
clínicas,
only cognitive
quadros que passam de
problems, but
médico em médico, pacientes
other
que não têm
problems
respostas
that go
para os
from
seus
doctor to
sintomas.
doctors and they
Então,
have
muito
no
obrigada por essa
answers to their
apresentação, uma grata
symptoms.
surpresa
So
que a
thank you
doutora
so
Maria
much
Emília
for
nos
this
passou o link hoje de
presentation.
manhã
It's
e
a
a gente
great
pôde
surprise. Dr.
acessar mais
Maria
desses
Emilia sent
conhecimentos.
us the link this
Por
morning and
acaso,
we could
essa
access
semana,
much
há
more
2
of your
semanas, na
knowledge.
verdade,
And
eu
by the
tive
way, 2
um
weeks
paciente
ago, I had a
que abriu um
patient
quadro de encefalite,
who had
paciente jovem de
encephalitis,
14 anos,
a young patient,
totalmente
14-year-old patient,
saudável, que não tinha
totally
problema
healthy,
nenhum e começou com
didn't
alterações
show any problems, and started
como se ele
showing
tivesse desenvolvido um quadro de autismo. Em 2 semanas, ele
autism
desaprendeu a ler, a
symptoms. In
escrever,
2 weeks,
ele
he
ficou
stopped reading
com
and writing.
alterações importantes
He
de
had
comportamento
behavior
e foi
sequels,
feito um diagnóstico de encefalite, foi
and there
feito esse diagnóstico
was
também com
a
exclusão de
diagnosis
outros
of
quadros
encephalitis,
e no histórico
excluding
dele tem
other
houve
pictures from the
um,
scene. And
a
his medical
inoculação de
history,
2
there
vacinas,
was
né, a Coronavac.
inoculation of 2
Então, a
vaccines,
princípio se achava que a
Coronavac.
Coronavac seria menos
So,
menos
firstly,
ruim,
we
porém
thought
temos
Coronavac
tido
would be
alterações também
not that
associadas a essa
harmful,
vacina.
but we
E
have also been seeing
também
alterations regarding this specific vaccine.
então acredito que nós precisamos pensar nisso
So
como um
I
mecanismo
believe
aí
we
de
do need to think
imunorregulação
of
vai
as a
apresentar
mechanism
sintomas
of
a longo
immune
prazo. E esse
deregulation that will
paciente
show
também teve
long-term
uma
symptoms.
exacerbação,
And this
né, uma
patient
reativação
also
do
had
Epstein-Barr vírus.
a reactivation of the Epstein-Barr virus. So I'm so glad to see I could pass on all of this supplementation to help this patient. And my question is, regarding the mechanisms, how much the mastocytes activation syndrome is also related to these neurodegenerative processes and the autism spectrum disorder.
Muito obrigado por sua participação, minha colega do Brasil também.
Hello, Dr. Karim. Thank you so much for your participation. She's a Brazilian colleague. Thanks for pointing out to this subject. So indeed, the mastocytes are really involved in neuroinflammation because, for instance, one of the mechanisms is through the sensitivities and intolerances regarding food allergies, which activate not only immunoglobulin A, but also IgG4, immunoglobulin G type 4, which are related to food intolerances, and they activate the mastocytes, which are immune system cells, which are very sensitive, and they can be activated by innumerous processes, mercury, inflammation, lots of processes, and they release histamine. And histamine triggers not only allergies, but also the H1 and H2 receptors, which are connected to allergies and gastrointestinal disease. We also have the receptors H3 and H4, which take part in the regulation of immuno and neurological regulations. So these receptors, they are in the encephalus, in our brains, and throughout our whole body. So when there is an activation of mastocytes, we can have both skin allergies, rhinitis, bronchitis, but also autoimmune problems and also emotional triggers, behavioral disorders in autistic children. Sometimes a little noise can trigger a brainstorm and it will become a behavioral crisis, an episode hard for educators and parents to take a hold of. So it's really important to have this understanding that people cannot relate food and neuroinflammation, and you brought this connection, the physiopathological interaction. And lots of doctors do not understand and have a take on this interaction. So it's really important to bring this to the medical community, educators and parents, for the whole community, for us to improve these children's diets and conditions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Karim. As you can see, we are a family. I had the blessing
Nós
and
somos
the
uma
opportunity to know
família,
them all
então estou tendo a oportunidade de
in our
conhecê-los.
latest Congress
No
in
nosso último
2024
congresso, nos conhecemos em 2024.
In Iguaçu, Brazil. So I would like you to introduce Dr. Simone Teixeira. She's dermatologist, but she, of course, can provide us some insights of what so far she has found with her patients and with her community in Brazil.
Olá,
Olá,
doutora
Raul.
Simone.
¿Cómo estás?
Que bom,
Gracias. Oi,
que bom
João,
que
meu
bom ver
amigo,
você.
parabéns. Brilhante aula, maravilhosa, como sempre. E já falaram várias coisas que agora eu vou tentar
A lot of
conectar.
things have been
A
said, and
história
I'm
dos
going to try to
mastócitos
connect
ligando
them.
a parte do
Talking about the
intestino com a
mastocytes
pele.
linking to the
Existe
intestine and the
eixo que é pouco
skin.
conhecido
There is an
da maioria
axis
dos
which
colegas.
is not
Intestino,
really
cérebro,
well
pele.
known. The
Então, está
intestine,
tudo
brain, and
conectado.
skin, so
E
everything is
realmente nós temos
connected.
visto,
And we
depois da
can
introdução
see
dessa proteína na nossa vida, que eu digo que nunca mais
the
seremos os
introduction in this
mesmos,
protein in our life,
temos
we're
visto
never going
quadros
to be the same.
urticariformes de difícil controle, dermatites
We've
atópicas de
seen
difícil
things,
controle, e é uma
dermatitis that
coisa
is
bem
difficult to
complicada
control,
colocar
and
na
it's
cabeça
something
do
very
paciente, da
complicated
família e
to
dos outros colegas,
make the
que se não
patient
tratar
aware
o
and other
intestino,
colleagues that
não
if
vai
we
dar
don't
jeito.
treat the
A gente pode
intestine,
usar
there
os
is no way out. We
estabilizadores de
can use
mastócitos,
the mastocid
anti-histamínicos de
stabilizers,
qualquer geração,
antihistaminics of
e
any
quando tem
generation.
relação com a
And
proteína
when there
spike,
is a relation with the
especialmente em relação
spiky
aos inóculos,
protein, especially about the
enquanto você não entra com a
inocules,
ivermectina,
when you
e às vezes
don't
associada à
start with
hidroxicloroquina,
ivermectin and
pode
sometimes
colocar
associated with
o corticoide que
doxychloroquine,
você quiser,
you can
tópico,
put any
sistêmico.
corticoids,
Pode usar,
topic,
porque já vi
systemic.
pacientes chegarem a
You
mim
can
até
use because I've
assim,
already seen patients coming to
ciclosporina,
my office,
biológicos, esses
cyclosporine,
reforçadinhos
biologic,
EMAB da vida que custam uma
these
fortuna
mag
e que aí vão
things which are very
triestimulam
costly
Você
in the
pode colocar
industry
o que você quiser
fosters the
e você
use of it.
não
You can
consegue
describe whatever
fazer
you
a
want that
imunomodulação
you do
adequada.
not
Se
manage
tiver
to do the
relação com a proteína
adequate
spike, esquece. É
immunomodulation. If it's
ivermectina,
associated with the spiky
hidroxicloroquina,
protein,
é a cúrcuma que você falou, são os nutrientes, é o
hydroxychloroquine, the
ozônio. Senão
curcuma,
você não consegue,
nutrients,
não consegue
ozones,
mesmo. Eu
otherwise
tenho
you can't
visto no
do
meu
it.
dia a
You
dia,
really
sabe?
can't. That's what I've been noticing on a daily
E
basis.
aí, o que eu tenho visto também,
And
que você
then
comentou,
what
eu
I've
não
been
trato
noticing and
criança,
that
né? Eu
you
recebo mais
touched
adulto,
upon
mas
is I do not
eventualmente vem uma
treat
criança no
children.
SUS
I
para
have
mim.
more adults.
Mas eu tenho
Once in
visto
a while, I
muito a
have children in
neuroinflamação se
the SUS,
expressando
but I've seen
através dos distúrbios
neuroinflammation expressing
comportamentais, do
itself
brain
through
fog,
behavior
do quadro
disorders,
cognitivo,
the
alteração de
cognitive
memória, né?
symptoms,
Muita
memory
insônia.
alteration,
Que
lots of
geralmente
sleep
eles chegam com fadiga,
deprivation.
alteração
They
de
usually
memória,
come with
insônia e
fatigue,
alteração do
memory
hábito intestinal. Quem não
alteration,
tem tudo tem
insomnia,
fenômeno
and the
nenhum.
intestine
É muito difícil,
dysregulated.
eu tenho acho que uma ou
When
duas
they don't have
pacientes
everything, they
que
have at
usaram
least one. I have, I think, one or two patients.
do inóculo e que chegaram lá, eu não tenho nada. Eu falei,
I
nossa,
got there saying
3
that
devem ter
I do
tido
not have
salina,
anything.
placebo.
So probably three of
Aí eu
them
peço
must have
todos
been a
aqueles
placebo.
marcadores
So
inflamatórios e lá
I
vem um
request
decímero
all
elevado.
the inflammation
E aí a gente
markers, and
trata.
then there is
Então,
something
fica
there.
aí a dica de
So
sempre pedir os exames, mesmo que a pessoa
always
esteja
asks for
assintomática.
exams,
Outra
even if the
coisa
person
é a
doesn't
história
show any
dos
symptoms.
nutrientes que você
Something else
comentou,
is the
né? O do brócolis,
nutrients
que
that you
realmente é
touched upon,
fantástico.
the broccoli, which is
E deve ser
amazing.
utilizado. Que bom que
And
agora a
it must
prefeitura
be
colocou para as crianças.
used.
E
That's
assim
good
como ele
that now the
aumenta,
children
ele
are having
mexe
access to it.
estimulando o
And
NRF2,
it also
o
stimulates
ozônio
the
também faz isso. Então
NF2.
tá aí a
The ozone
explicação,
does this
né?
as
Se a
well.
gente
So
tem,
there
olha,
is
o
the
brócolis faz,
explanation.
claro que numa
Well, we have the
intensidade menor.
broccoli, of
O
course,
ozônio trabalha através do estímulo do
lower
NRF2, né?
intensity. The
Melhorando
ozone
os
also works
nossos
with these
antioxidantes
stimuli,
internos.
also
Então,
improving
o
our internal
ozônio,
oxidants.
acredito eu, junto
So the
com a minha
ozone,
mestra
I
Merimília,
believe
que
that
é a salvação para os
it's
inoculados, é
the
a salvação
salvation of the
para todos
inoculate,
nós, na verdade,
the
porque eu
salvation for
vejo o
all of
seguinte,
us,
quem não
because what
inoculou
I see,
recebe um pouco
whoever
através
didn't
do shed,
inoculate,
recebe um pouco. E eu não sei também se, tem minhas dúvidas, se depois que você tem a infecção SARS-CoV-2, se esses vírus ficam ou não latentes, como os herpes vírus ficam. Tem alguém com o microfone aberto. Alguém com o microfone aberto.
Ivette, ¿podría apagar su micrófono, por favor?
Porque alguns pacientes evoluem de uma forma muito diferente no pós-Covid, não sendo apenas uma recuperação de um gripão, uma coisa muito longa que eles chamam de long COVID. Eu detesto este nome, porque parece que a coisa nunca vai acabar, né? Mas eu fico pensando, pela evolução e acompanhamento de alguns pacientes, se esse vírus não fica lá no intestino, meio quietinho, não sei. Tem alguns malucos que pensam como eu também. Enfim, o teu tema, ele é precioso e eu fico muito feliz que uma pessoa como você estude e coloque isso para nós, porque muito pouca gente estuda isso e a gente está vendo o crescimento exponencial e a preocupação é crescente porque quantas crianças nós vemos hoje em dia nas famílias de cada 5, 3, 4
And nowadays,
tem
one
algum
out
grau
of
de
4 or
espectro
5
autista. E
has
isso
some
aí é
kind
uma
of
coisa que
level of
nós vamos ter que
autism.
saber lidar
And
com
this is
isso,
something that
né?
we
Daqui
need to
para
know how
frente,
to
cada
deal
vez
with it
mais,
from now
não só os
on, more
pediatras,
and more.
porque
Not
agora,
only
como
the
você falou,
pediatricians,
TDAH,
because as you said,
esses diagnósticos estão sendo
TDHD,
feitos nas
all these
pessoas mais
diagnoses, they
velhas.
are
E
being
aí, o que está
done for
acontecendo com elas?
older
Ah, e
people.
outra
So what's
coisa, deixa
happening
eu
to these
comentar da
people?
Coronavac.
And something
Porque todo
else, let
mundo
me
fica falando,
comment
não, foi
on the
Coronavac, que a
Coronavac.
Coronavac é
Everybody is
boazinha.
blaming
Eu
the
e Maria Emília
Coronavac
conseguimos a
and
bula
saying
da
that it's good.
Sinovac, lá
Me
da
and Maria
China,
Villa,
e
Maria
aí Maria
Emilia
Emília
got
descobriu o
the
tanto de alumínio que tem dentro. Então, não precisa falar em
we saw
metal pesado,
how
né?
much aluminum there
225
is in the
microgramas por
Coronavac. So we
dose,
don't need
já
to
é um
talk about
excesso para
heavy
qualquer um.
metals.
Imagina para os
It's like a
bebezinhos
lot of
que
it in
eles
the
estão querendo
Coronavac.
inocular e estão
Imagine for the
inoculando aqui no
children
Brasil.
that they want to
Mas
inoculate, and they
veja,
are
minha
inoculating in
mãe
Brazil. But
teve um
my
quadro
mother
de púrpura trombocitopênica
had
pós-vacinal, VITT,
had
após
a very
uma
serious
dose
disease
de
after
Coronavac,
one
que ela
dose of
tomou contra a
Coronavac,
minha vontade.
which was
Minha mãe
taken
não
against
morreu
my
porque não era
will.
hora
My
dela
mom
morrer.
didn't die
Porque
because it
na
was not
época,
time for her to
abril de
die, because
2021,
at the
a
time,
gente não
April
sabia nada.
2021, we
Tinha os
didn't know
primeiros 20
anything.
casos de
That were
morte
the first 20
por
cases of
AstraZeneca,
death
fazendo VITT,
by
publicado no
taking
New England 2
AstraZeneca,
dias antes
published
da
in the
minha mãe
New
adoecer.
England, 2
Foi
days
algo por
prior to
intuição
my mom
minha,
fall
que eu digo
sick.
que é Deus
And
que
according to
atua,
my intuition, and
disse
I
para
say
mim,
that it's
deixa
God
o
told
anticoagulante da
me,
tua mãe e aumenta.
leave
Só que
the
ela
coagulant of
fez
your mother and
desidratação com
increases.
vômito, diarreia,
But then
febre,
she
anúria,
dehydrated with diarrhea
e não
and
tinha
fever,
vaga em hospital.
anuria,
E eu também
and
sou
there was
nefrologista, e eu
no
pensei, vou ter que
place in
realizar minha mãe em
hospitals.
casa
And
pelo antídoto.
I thought about,
Ela
I have
fez
to do something for my
hemólise,
mother
porque os
at
números
home, for
subiu e o
God's
potássio
sake.
dela foi lá para cima.
Many
Por Deus,
things
ela não
happened
morreu,
to her.
entende?
Well, it
O que que eu
wasn't
fiz na época?
for
Aumentei
God's
o
sake she
Pradaxa, que
didn't
ela já
die.
tomava,
And then
Daxibacrina, e
I
foi.
increased
Então,
some of the
assim, você pensa
medicine
que
that she used
Coronavac é
to
boazinha?
take.
Não é, não.
So if you
Além
think
do
that
alumínio,
Coronavac
nós
is
não
good, it's not.
sabemos quais
Besides the
são as
aluminum,
nanopartículas que tem
we
lá dentro,
don't
porque a
know
China não
which
abre.
is there
Nós
inside of it
sabemos as da
because
Pfizer, da
China
AstraZeneca,
doesn't
da Janssen,
disclose
da
this
Moderna.
information.
Nós
We know
sabemos quanto
about the
tem lá
other
dentro de proteína
vaccines. We
spike
know
em
how much of
microgramas.
spiky
Mas a China
protein in
não abre a
micrograms
Sinovac.
we can
Então, a
see
gente
there.
só
But
sabe do
China
alumínio.
doesn't
A
disclose this
gente não
information.
sabe
So we
direito o
only
que
know
tem dentro
about the
daquela
aluminum.
porcaria.
We don't really know what's
Understand me?
in there. Do you know
Não
what I
é porque
mean?
tomou Coronavac que é bonzinho,
It's
não.
not
É ruim
because
igual.
the Coronavac is
E eu
good.
quero
It's
mais
as
uma vez te
bad as the other
felicitar e te
ones.
pedir, continue
And I'd
estudando,
like
que a
to
gente precisa.
congratulate you and
Muito
please
obrigada.
keep on studying
Obrigado pela
because
sua
we do
participação,
need
doutora
that.
Simone. Eu
Thanks for
quero
your
relatar também
participation,
uma
Simone.
amiga da minha
I'd also
filha de
like to say
20
that a
anos,
friend of my
ela tomou a
daughter, she's 20
Coronavac
years old,
e
she took the
faleceu 5 dias
Coronavac
depois.
and she died
Ela,
5 days
bom, a
later.
gente só soube porque eram da mesma
So
sala, estudavam juntos,
we
mas não
only
apareceu
found
em
this
nenhum
out because
vídeo
they
e
studied in the
ninguém
same
falou nada.
classroom, but it was not
E eu quero
advertised in
acrescentar
social
também que
media.
uma forma de a gente
I
estar
also would like
ajudando,
to add that
tanto
one
nos
way of
eventos
helping
pós-vacinais,
in
como
the
na inflamação crônica,
post-vaccination
é o uso de
events,
enzimas
the
digestivas.
use of
Então,
digestive
uma potente
enzymes.
enzima digestiva é a
A
bromelarina, né, que tem
powerful
vários
one is
estudos mostrando o
bromelain.
efeito,
There are many
porque elas são
studies showing its
proteolíticos, elas
effect
quebram, fazem a
because
lise das
they
proteínas. E as
break the
proteínas no nosso
protein.
corpo, elas
So the
desencadeiam
proteins in
reações
our
imunológicas,
Proteínas.
autoimunes.
Así
Então,
que
as enzimas
causan
digestivas em geral,
reacciones
elas ajudam no
inmunológicas,
tratamento do
con lo
autismo,
cual
e
las
a
enzimas
bromelina
digestivas
específica,
treatment. And the
ela é
bromelain
proteolítica, ela quebra essas
is
proteínas
specific
inadequadas
because
que
it
vão se
breaks
acumulando
the
após
inappropriate
a
proteins which
injeção dos
pile up
experimentos
after the
genéticos, vai
injection
produzindo
of
a
the
proteína spike, vai
genetic
aumentando,
experiments. They
aumentando
produce
a
spiky
quantidade
proteins
delas,
and it increases,
ocorrendo uma
increases their
alteração
quantity.
da
And then
proteostase,
there is an
né,
alteration
das
of the
proteínas no nosso
proteastase,
corpo, que é
the proteins
relacionada
in our
a todo
body,
tipo de
which are
doenças,
related
tanto
to
doenças
all types of
neurodegenerativas,
disease,
autismo,
neurodegenerative
câncer,
diseases,
doenças autoimunes.
autism,
Então,
cancer,
a bromelaina tem um
autoimmune
efeito
diseases. So the
anticoagulante, também
bromelain has a
anti-inflamatório, né?
anticoagulant
E é
effect,
barato,
an
derivado
anti-inflammatory
do
one, and it's
abacaxi. Só que eu
cheap.
não
It
consumo,
comes from
não
the
recomendo o consumo
pineapple,
direto do
but I do not
abacaxi, porque muitas
recommend
vezes
to
eles
eat the
colocam
pineapple
toxina no
directly
abacaxi
because sometimes
para
there is
promover o seu
toxin in the
amadurecimento
pineapple
mais
to
rápido.
promote the
Então,
ripening, a faster
Simone, é
ripening.
muita coisa.
Você usa,
So
João,
Simone, I have a question, João. How much do you use in milligrams a day? Adults, 500 milligrams twice a day. And it can be adjusted for children. I've been prescribing along with anatokinase. I've been putting anatokinase, 2 units, 100 milligrams, and tomelain together. When it fits in the, depending on the patient, I still add something else, and then they get 600 to 100, 1200, and more 1 gram of bromelain and 200 milligrams of kinetikinase. So this is great to address many things. So as you said, it breaks the proteins easily and it helps digestion. There are a lot of enzymes. You're more knowledgeable than me about this. I consume myself, and one of the many effects, and there is a K2, which helps the metabolism of calcium. It strengthens the bones and immunological systems. The nutraceuticals, they have multiple effects. That's why I think it's the future of medicine. We can see this revolution in the medicine through doctors which are more dedicated, interested in their patients, and they go forward. They're willing to go forward. Thank you for your participation, Dr. Simone. Thank you. Congratulations.
Any question more?
Any other questions?
Yeah, we have a lot of questions, Dr. Yamashita, questions and comments. But first, I would like to read one participation from Dr. Annie O'Reilly from New Zealand. She mentions, my experience with these children was many years ago, at least 20 years ago. It is interesting to hear these findings again, though, and they are put together very well by Dr. Yamashita. I've lost touch with the clinicians who are working in this area and the state of play at the moment in New Zealand. It was very big at that time, and I, like most of these chronic illnesses, they just go underground and parents seek help where they can. Australia had a good group mind. I will find out more when I get back. She is currently in Ireland. Our functional medicine groups have been fragmented with COVID in the last 3 years. I'm not registered anymore and in the background of clinical groups. My middle daughter regressed with loss of language and communication after MMR vaccine at 20 months. She was quite normal and functional prior. We did many therapies. Then we have here one comment from iPhone from Brazil, but there was an article in New Zealand making the name official as long COVID. So unfortunately, this will end up being the official name. Again, Dr. Anne O'Reilly, thank you so much for this great presentation, Dr. Joao, and in illuminating a very important and huge problem. Sorry, I need to leave now. My appreciative of this wonderful group of concerned clinicians. Then Dr. Maria Betania de Almeida mentions, Coronavac alters the gut a lot. I've had elderly people with more than 30 days of diarrhea. Dr. Maria Gadella, congratulations to Dr. Yamashita for his ability to compile information. And the idea of broccoli cubes is very good. Then again, iPhone from Brazil, it's important to make sure that the enzymes that are taken away from meals in order to enjoy their benefits. And Dr. Susan Rush, additional comments?
Okay, so I was just saying that yes, and we must also make sure, all of us who are into the healing should have the dioxygen chloride and DMSO as part of the oxidation therapy. And it has got wonderful result. All those countries where it is not used freely, just use it as the water purification solution. You purify the water and give it, and you see the result. Our cells require antioxidation from food, herbs, oils that will do the cell building. Cell structure is created strong. And then we require hydration from juice, water, oxidation while breathing, but send amazing oxygen with a molecule of chloride accompanied with DMS. So it does the fantastic job of oxygenation and oxidation. And definitely our endocrine system with the right information, mind power, and where the information converts into the power of thought and connect with the positive emotion, works on our endocrine system. All is called integrative method. So our detox has to be holistic, method has to be integrative at the molecular level, that is cellular level at electromolecular frequency. We all can come together, and this is the amazing platform as Doctors Federation for the World. I'm so happy to be here today, and looking forward for all of you to contribute again, and let us heal and provide the right environment to our self-healing system. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Is it time to adjourn, Dr. Susan Rush, Dr. Yamashita?
Yes.
I would before closing or adjourning the meeting, Dr. Yamashita, I would like to ask you to provide us your last insight. What would be the important message that you would like to send to the audience and to the world regarding this ASD syndrome, autistic syndrome?
My last message, yes, I'm going to speak in Portuguese again. Quero deixar o recado que é muito importante que nos debrucemos,
Really
estudemos
important that we delve
esse
deep
importante
into
assunto.
this important
Nós estamos
subject.
vendo uma pandemia de eventos adversos.
We're
Muitas pessoas estão tendo imunidade baixa, fadiga,
immunity,
Immunity,
fatigue,
fatigue,
sintoma da
which
which is
is
a
a
symptom of
symptom
the
of the
dysfunction of the
dysfunction of
mitochondria, the
mitochondria,
chronic
of
inflammation,
chronic
the nutritional
inflammation, nutritional
deficiencies, not only
deficiency,
children,
not
but
only
also
children, but also
adults.
adults.
We've
We
been
have seen
having
hospitals
hospitals
overcrowded,
crowded, the increase in
and
the mortality
the
rates,
increase of
the
deaths
increase in the
all
mortality rates
over
in
the
all
world that
countries,
have
which
been
we've
with
been
us.
monitoring. So it's
It's
highly
important
important
for
that
us,
we, health
healthcare
professionals,
professionals, to
dedicated
be attentive and
in
dedicated. We have to understand the extension of this process, where children are the weakest link, but the whole society has been suffering from it. But there are solutions, easy solutions, accessible, affordable to all. So it only takes doctors and healthcare professionals, understand these mechanisms and know how to apply them to the patients, and inform politicians, influencers in society in general, to increase awareness on that. Because only taking meds for insomnia, depression, gastritis, etc., the meds, they do help, but there are symptomatic meds that aggravate the clinical record of the people, the population in general. So it's really important to make people aware of it. I ask you all to help us, Doctors Federation for the World, to spread this info. And congratulations to you all who have stayed here so far. Unfortunately, this topic is very extensive and we cannot do it in only one presentation. So I invite you to follow us and take part in our courses if you wish. Possibly in the future, these courses will be promoted by Doctors Federation for the World so that we can pass this information through all the 5 continents. I'm so thankful for all of you, people from all continents, but Africa. But there is Asia, New Zealand, Europe, North America, Central America, Latin America. I don't know if there is anyone from Africa, but we need to make this information reach all corners of the world. Thank you so much, Dr. Raul, Dr. Susan, Dr. Funny, who is the president of DFW, who anonymously has contributed so much for the maintenance of our works. And congratulations to you all and to us. And let's move on because there's a lot to be done yet.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Yamasita. Last, I would like to read a message from Fanny Casalo and all the members from our team, our great family of Doctors Federation for the World, praying and sending our love to Norberta, who is now with us. I will read the message. I will try to read the message in Italian, and you already have the translation in the agenda of activities that I sent early in this morning. So, cara Donagi, oggi ci troviamo qui per onorare la tua memoria e per celebrare la luce che hai portato nelle nostre vite. La tua dedizione nel fare del bene e il tuo spirito altruista sono stati un esempio luminoso per tutti noi. Hai toccato i cuori di tanti giovani, ispirandoli a seguire il tuo cammino di diligenza e generosità. La tua assenza lascia un vuoto incomabile, ma il tuo esempio continuerà a vivere nei nostri gesti quotidiani. Ci mancherai profondamente, ma porteremo sempre con noi il tuo sorriso e il tuo amore per il prossimo. Grazie per tutto ciò che hai fatto. Riposa in pace, cara Donagi. La tua eredità di bontà e amore rimarrà per sempre nei nostri cuori. Con affetto, la tua famiglia, Doctors Federation for the World. And this is how we want to adjourn this meeting. We close our session by stressing our need for your support. A big thank for your team of translators without whom this forum loses its strength, interculturality, and international diffusion. From English to Portuguese, Denise Cipulo and Doris. From English and Spanish, Shifra Lipson and Isabel. Unfortunately, we lost contact with Fabiana Mendes for Italian and Mohamed Basri from Morocco. Additional thanks, of course, to Donahi Rodriguez, nutritionist Maria Fernanda Uribe, MD Frida Rosas, Vivian Freitas from Paraguay, and Patricia Gawa from Peru for their immense daily help to our organization. They represent a new generation of professionals committed from a very young age to their communities and the world's population. They are a source of pride for us. Be sure to visit us in our social media platforms. Also in our website, www.doctorsfortheworld.org. For more information on how to become an active member, more news and benefits. If you like this session, as Dr. Yamasita mentioned, we strongly encourage you to become member. And we encourage also to share this video with your friends and families. On behalf of all of us at DFW, the steering committee, staff and translators, interpreters, of course, we thank you for your presence and questions at these sessions, and we wish you a wonderful weekend. Greetings for a lot of countries around the world: Paraguay, Peru, Mexico, India, Costa Rica, Brazil, UK, Switzerland, USA, Morocco, Guatemala, India, Bolivia, and of course, Brazil. See you next time. Thank you for your attendance, and God bless you.
Bye.
Hasta pronto. Gracias.
Thank you very much. Gracias.
Buen fin de semana. Namaste.
Para todos bien.
Hi, Philip. Hi.
Hello. Hello there. I'm sorry I'm late, but I couldn't make it before.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Dr. Philip. See you in Malta next year, hopefully.
Hopefully, yes. You are most welcome to organize the summit here in Malta. I wish to help you as much as I can.
Great. And we also will support you.
Were you talking about autism today?
I'm sorry?
Were you talking about autism?
Yes, of course. Dr. Yamasita did a splendid conference today.
Just if I may, I don't know if I'm late or you want to close.
Yes.
Just one message.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I today we had the 11th anniversary of Grandparents Malta Foundation. For 11 years, we have been striving with our grandparents in Malta, Maltese grandparents, to keep them active aging, and to combat solitude and abandonment. But regarding autism here in Malta, I must say that I always insist to include always the grandparents and elderly people, because grandparents are the frontliners who spend most of the time, more than the parents, with their with their nephews, with their grandchildren. So we need to be sensibilized and create awareness among grandparents, because they are the ones who immediately can identify this condition of autism in our children. Because sometimes grandparents tend to cover up for the children. They don't know about autism, and they say, oh, because the child, my grandson is only very solitude, he's very reservative, and then we delay the therapy for these children. So when the grandparents are aware of the conditions and they can identify quickly the condition of autism, it is an asset to our grandchildren and the young people who suffer from this condition to be detected most immediately, so that they can proceed with the therapy and they can remedy the situation. This is my message. Keep the elderly people aware and in contact and in circulation with the awareness campaigns that you do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you indeed. Very strong and powerful message. And thank you all, the attendees. Dr. Raj, Yeah, let's adjourn the meeting. Thank you. Yeah, your words, your final words, Dr. Raj.
Oh, yes, I have already said it, and it is a wonderful session, and we all are looking forward for all the healers and the health experts to come together again in next 15 days. Rahul, thank you very much. And Dr. Yamasita, thank you very much. All of the doctors and the specialists and the people who are interested for the health, to restoring the health. Thank you very much for being here. Have a wonderful time. It is a good evening from here, and all of you have a wonderful day. Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you all. Bye-bye, Michael. Bye-bye, Dr. Yamashita. Bye-bye, Dr. Susan, and all the audience. Thank you.